Blog Talk Radio.
It's Maxwell on the beat.
Welcome to Real Combat Media MMA Radio. I am your host. My name is Isaac Lanford. I'm coming to you from the Circle City, Indianapolis, Indiana. I am joined, of course, by my co-host, early morning in Phuket, Thailand, pro fighter David Hollywood Hewlett. How are you doing, David?
Yo, what up, Isaac? I'm good, man. I fucking slept all night, though. I'm really tired.
Yeah, I talked to you just 8 hours ago, right?
Yeah, I started Redditing.
I don't even know what that is.
Then
heard of it.
Well, yeah, it's this website where it's like they call it the front page of the internet, reddit.com, and you go on there and kind of anything interesting or what's going on with the country or the college kids or whatever, you just kind of get to see that. So anyway, it's a bottomless pit of time suck, and it's not bad if you got to stay up for a couple hours.
I see. Well, good. Time well spent. We are also joined on the show today with touring stand-up comedian and my good friend DJ Dangler. DJ, where do we find you this evening?
I'm in Indianapolis as well this beautiful Monday. Just getting back from Michigan last weekend.
So you and I are like 5 miles away from each other right now, but we're communicating over the internet?
We are definitely doing that, yeah.
You could have been in my house right now.
Thousands of miles on radio waves. Yes, to talk. We could probably yell real loudly and get a game of telephone going.
That's probably now, David. You realize that you're on the phone with 2 Indiana guys today. We were actually slated to have a 3rd Indiana guy, one of our panelists, Zach Hine, but he fell ill before the show. But so this episode, we're not going to talk about MMA. Yeah, we're just going to talk about Peyton Manning and Reggie Miller for the duration of this 2-hour program, if that's all right.
Yeah.
And Bonfire.
We haven't talked about OJ in a while. Can we talk about OJ?
No OJ. OJ's resting. He may get paroled soon. All right, enough of all this. We do have a packed show today. We're going to go over the UFC and the Bellator cards that happened this weekend. We're going to preview Bellator World Series of Fighting 5. We also have guests. At the hour mark, we'll be talking to Houston Alexander, who's fighting for Bellator this Friday night against longtime veteran Vladimir Matyushenko, the janitor. We're also going to talk to lightweight prospect, newcomer to World Series of Fighting, Nick Newell, and possibly we will talk to JT Money Jesse Taylor as advertised. A little bit of a communication snafu there, not the fault of anyone in particular, but we're still trying to get that together and make sure it happens. But otherwise, what's that?
I said I'm tweeting them. Hopefully they'll come through.
Yeah, keep tweeting if you'd like to be involved. You can call into the show at 347-324-5998. You can also hit us on Twitter at Real Combat Media. Find us on Facebook, put in Real Combat Media. You can hit me personally. I'm on Twitter at Isaac Lanford, excuse me, I'm misspelling my own name and I'm reading a piece of paper. ISAACLANDFERT. David, your Twitter handle is?
DC Hewlett. DCHULETT.
Yeah, he can spell his own name. DJ, I hope you can spell yours. It only has 2 letters. What's your Twitter handle?
Mine is just DJ Dangler. Is that easy?
Just DJ Dangler.
Yeah.
Just DJ Dangler.
Yep.
DJ Dangler. Yeah, no peer.
Am I the only one who, when I hear DJ Dangler, I think about a DJ who dangles his cock down from the turntable booths?
Nope, that would be you and
Is like a gimmick.
every person
Is
I've
that
ever
solely
told
me?
my name to.
I was thinking if that was a club DJ, what would DJ Dangler's thing be? And I can't imagine it would be anything but that.
Yeah. I would just have to live inside my own character. I'd become like a self-reverential Hulk Hogan. Like Hulk Hogan's just Hulk Hogan right now. There's no other guy. There's no real Hulk Hogan.
No. Terry is dead, yeah, for sure. DJ actually, I have to give him credit since this is an MMA show. DJ is the only comedian that I know who has successfully worked MMA jokes into his act. Like, I've tried it in various characters and in various forms, and it's never worked.
What was your? I want to know what your jokes are, D, that worked, and I want to know what your jokes are that didn't work, Isaac. I am not a comedian, so I can make fun of you both.
Well, I'll tell you first. My bit, I did this character that I do, this redneck Jasper T. Colbert, who's actually been on. He has a better resume than I do. He's been on Last Comic Standing 2 times. But I'm not going to go into it. But I had an entire bit about Tito Ortiz and Jenna Jameson, but it wasn't really that strong.
It was too late, and it was too soon.
Yeah. But what I can do with the character is, like, when I do that character, I'm still doing Dog the Bounty. Whatever jokes I ever wrote as the character still does in a stand-up act, regardless of time frame.
Yeah. It is. It's really part of the beauty of the Jasper character.
What was your punchline about Jenna and Tito? It didn't work. We can clarify that. It didn't work. You want to hash it out and see if maybe it'll come back around?
No, because you know what? I don't even know if there was a punchline. I think it was just a lot of me talking about Jenna Jameson's vagina and feeling sorry for those Tito Ortiz-headed children coming through.
It is a funny notion. It's a situation that's so surreal and wrought with comedy, it's hard to write about. Like, what's more absurd than that?
Yeah, well, you know what? What's hard is...
professional puncher and professional humper.
Yeah. Wait, you know what? Okay, it's coming to me. Now, keep in mind, this is a redneck character, but I believe that the punchline was that it was an ironic relationship because he's a former champion who fights like a pussy, and she's got a pussy that formerly fucked like a champ. Judging by the reaction here, you can see how it works on stage.
I don't have my I don't have my soundboard up.
For the rim shot.
Dropping some give you a rim shot. Yeah, whatever.
Hey, DJ. So what's, like, quickly, and we'll move.
Yeah,
on to actual stuff.
Give us a good MMA joke, and it can't be Brock Lesnar raping you on stage because Joe Rogan already did that one.
No, it's I think the only reason it worked was you didn't have to be a fight fan to love it. But I used to just love, and I guess I still do. I love making fun of Antonio Big Faces Silva's giant face. And like, his head's too big and giant face should be his nickname because that's how I call him it and how I remember who he is. And I love him and his giant head.
Couldn't we call him Giant Smile? Wouldn't that be just the perfect nicer?
Yeah,
do we have
but
to
it doesn't
pick on
hammer home the message
children
that his head's too big and he looks like a weirdo.
And what was it? It's like,
he's got gigantism. Of course, he looks like a weirdo. So, you know, he's got the pituitary thing. That's why he's so big.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's the thing.
I felt bad. The joke hinges on I was making fun of him for years, and then I found out that he has acromegalia, like the thing that made Andre the Giant, and not just Andre the French guy. And like he's a big lumbering freak. But then, like, they started talking about how hard it was growing up for him, and I have to say, as far as diseases go, gigantism is a pretty sweet disease to suffer from. Like it would suck if he had to be like a cabbie or like a bellhop, but he gets to be a fighter, or there's no drawback to being a giant fighter. Like, oh no, you're bigger and stronger than everyone all the time. I've got to suck it. My heart doesn't break.
Except that he's got a cut to make 265. Like, he's one of those 300-pound Brock Lesnar big motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying as a heavyweight.
I would take a pill. People take drugs to do that. Like, nobody's taking drugs that'll give them cancer for the cancer. Like, the cancer is a side effect.
Oh, you mean for for gigantism?
Yeah. Yeah, for acromegaly.
Well, usually what's usually caused by a tumor on the pituitary gland. It makes you secrete growth hormone for longer than you're supposed to. You know, most of us stop growing when we're at 21 or whatever. So what maybe you go in there and have it removed? I don't know. Is there a procedure? They just keep growing. I was like, he's like a
there was the Big Show from Pro Wrestling had the same thing. Like, it's what a lot of the giants have. Clearly, like, I mean, gigantism for a reason. That being said, though, pretty sweet. I can't imagine it was too tough when they're like, oh, man, remember when Antonio got made fun of as a little kid, and then he threw those bullies over a house? Like, I think he was okay.
Well, and they said, Mike Goldberg said he overcame gigantism to make it to where he is today.
Yeah, like, he didn't really overcome that. Yeah.
Yeah, if Brock Lesnar overcame steroids,
my wealthy parents.
All right, enough. I've had enough of science class.
By the way, JT just Skyped me, so we got him.
Oh, we do.
All right.
All right, cool.
What should I tell him to do?
Hey, if you want, we can bring him in right now.
Yeah, I want to talk to JT Money?
Yeah. Can you loop him in here right now?
Oh, he said he thought I said, it's 5. It's 5 right now. Yeah, he probably can't. I don't know. I'll find out if you can do it.
All right. Let's just find out what's going on with him. We'll get him in here when we can.
Yeah, let's find out. You comedians banter in a comedic way.
Yeah, we can continue talking. Oh, you know what we'll do? I think that it's time to get into some of this meat that we had over this past week. We can start off the conversation. I'll run down here. On Wednesday night, another fantastic card. Whoa. Someone's breathing in awfully heavy here.
I was getting excited about the card coming up.
Yeah. On Wednesday night, UFC Fight Night 28, Teixeira versus Bader. It happened. It was at the Belo Horizonte Minas Gerais in Brazil. I'm not going to read the undercard fighters because I embarrassed myself last week on the preview. Well, there were some solid undercard fights for sure, though. But on the main card, we saw Ali Bogdanov against Marcos Vinicius. And this was a tough fight. I'm actually surprised it didn't get fight of the night. But Ali's a Russian who came in here. He's on a huge tear right now, too. Like, this guy is looking mean. Let me I don't want to misquote this at all. I'm going to pull up his record and tell you exactly how many wins he's on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is his 9th win in a row. It was his UFC debut. He really put some damage on his opponent, too, in the first round. It made it to the third before he stopped it with punches, but it was a nasty fight. It was a good one. And then we see Rafael Natal picks up his 3rd straight win in the octagon when he took out Tor Trung in a unanimous decision, which got fight of the night. I don't know how it got fight of the night because Tor survived for as long as he did. Was pretty amazing, but he didn't really threaten a whole lot in the fight. Like, I expect fight of the night to be a little more back and forth. Piotr Holman and Francisco Trinaldo Holman gets submission of the night with a Kimura in the second round. Joseph Benavidez shows us why he is the number 2 flyweight in the world with a first-round TKO. I'm thinking he probably gets another shot at Mighty Mouse on that. Jacare takes out Yushin Okami in the first round.
Sorry, didn't pop up on my phone. I was talking to Jesse, too.
What's that?
Sorry, dude. I'm back. I'm going to make sure I don't have the same audio problems I was having earlier. JT seems like he's ready just in a second.
Okay, cool. I was just saying, David, I called the Jacare knockout, and you laughed at me last week.
That's totally true. I totally laughed at it. Look, Jacare is this is what I've always witnessed from his striking. It's like he's got I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday in the gym.
But I was saying about his striking. It always looks really, really good, but it's like he has the physical, ability to do the striking. But I saw him take that up kick from Musasi back in the day, and I mean, I know that was a legit strike and probably would have knocked out anybody. But I've seen Jacare, like, I've always questioned his chin. And I don't know the thing is, he knocked the fuck out of Okami, and that was savage. I mean, he might as well have fucking rabies the way he took him out that way. But at the same time, is he the type of guy that can land a combination and take one and then give another one back? You know what I mean? Like, is Jacare a striker just because he knocked out Okami? Only two strikers have knocked Okami out so far, but does that make Jacare one of those people? I say no. I say he's jiu-jitsu. He's too good at jiu-jitsu to be a legitimate striker, but he is knocking the fuck out of people. And as long as he keeps those combos going forward and he doesn't have to take any back, I think he'll be good. But I guarantee you crack him in the middle of one of those combinations, he's shooting. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? That's all right if this is his B game and he's able to take guys out with it like that. I thought I'm ready to see. Yeah, and I'll just quickly say Glover Teixeira takes out Ryan Bader, and really a pretty sloppy first round to get the KO. He's going to get the shot against Jones. I'll just quickly say what I took away from this card. Number one, I don't know the undercard. When they're fighting in Brazil now, it's like a completely different organization. I'm happy with that, but it's like a sister league almost. Otherwise, Jacare looked great. Bader, I said this to both of you guys before, his punches look straight. He looks fast and strong like usual. Glover took a lot of shots. The guy takes a lot of punches in these fights that he's been having in the UFC. He's going to get a title shot against the winner of Gustafsson-Jones. We'll see how that goes. I'm not really on the Teixeira train in a title fight, but I can't deny what he's been doing. DJ, what were your takeaways from this card?
I think what you were saying, especially about Souza, is exactly accurate. He might not be a striker, but he's proven he's at least a puncher. And if you can make somebody scared on their feet and they're definitely scared of you on the ground, that's a beautiful problem to have. You're right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
this
look,
was a fun
here's my...
really. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Jacare's got to repeat this performance before people are going to give it water. You got to defend the belt before you're going to be respected as a champion. You got to knock someone out again if you're going to be respected as a striker. That's how I feel. And I think that he's really scary, but maybe he only landed that knockout and he just obliterated Okami because Okami expected him to grapple him and he just caught him sleeping. I mean, that happens all the time. In fact, that's the best way to beat somebody is to just, what did they expect and do the opposite. And you see a lot of quick finishes that way, and I don't think this was an exception. I really think that Okami was expecting to get into a grappling match with this guy, and that shit just didn't happen.
I think so. It should still silence the critics the same way, sure, Rashad Evans only landed that one big kick, but it showed that he's not just a one-dimensional fighter, that he belongs to he is a true MMA artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's definitely making a much better transition than most of the pure jiu-jitsu guys I've seen. His athletic ability is freaky, and I mean, who knows what's pushing that forward? But he's always been a freak. I mean, that guy was a freak in jiu-jitsu days, and now that he's actually learning how to, put leather to face, it's very, very. But the same thing, what's exciting about Jacare as a striker, the fact that he comes out and bangs now, is that he actually will, we really don't know what's going to happen when he gets hit back. We don't know what's going to happen. That makes it exciting because everyone knows he's green, when it comes to, the hard striking game. He's obviously got the right people teaching him, but we know that he hasn't been striking for that long. We know that for sure because he's a jiu-jitsu guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
his specialty is elsewhere, but the fact that the striking hasn't come up more, the fact that it's starting to show itself, it's very exciting. He could. I'm not sold on it yet, but I think that he could produce some very, very good matchups in the near future.
Yeah, and I can't let the moment go by without kind of jumping on Rashad Evans since DJ mentioned it. The difference here, DJ, is that Jacare just did this to a legitimate top 5 guy in his weight class. Rashad Evans did it to Sean Salmon, who was a 185er that they brought in for the sole reason of letting Rashad Evans kick him in the head.
Well, I mean, also let's be clear. Rashad knocked out more than just him.
That's true.
Yeah.
After that, he did. Yeah, that was the coming out party for his knockout. But yeah, for sure.
Everyone was like, yes, he can do it. And then he knocked out Chuck Liddell, and now people respect his striking. I'm just saying it took more than one.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Hey, Jacare did knock out Matt Lindland like 3 years ago.
Who did?
Jacare knocked out Matt Lindland.
Yeah, well.
Which, yeah, sure. So.
Happy to see the resurgence of a Kimura. I haven't seen a Kimura in forever.
What's that, DJ?
I was happy to see a Kimura. I haven't seen a Kimura in forever.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, you know what? I have to correct myself. He did not knock out Matt Lindland. It was actually an arm triangle choke. I kind of doubted myself, but I believe he did drop him in that fight. So yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously. What about let's talk about Glover Teixeira, David. What do you take away from that fight that he just had?
Jeez, he's a survivor, is what Glover Teixeira is. I feel like I could drop Teixeira in the middle of the ocean with a knife, and he'd make it to an ocean and make it to a shoreline. You know, he'd have a bunch of shark fins on his back made from some kind of, he would show up on the shore and somehow have different knives. Yeah, that he's constructed of sawfish bones that he's broken off while he's been swimming and killing fish. Like just taking out pirates with his fists. Yeah, I think Glover Teixeira is a bad motherfucker. There's been a lot of valid hype around him. He's 20-0. But Isaac, we were talking about this the other day or a few hours ago or whatever. But when it comes to Glover Teixeira, and I think this is the source of your doubt for him, and I totally get it, is that if you're looking at him in the context of a title contender, there's a potential. All you got to do is play a little database Kevin Bacon game, and you can look into you can see Bones took out. You look at who they fought, look at who they beat, look at how easy it was for them to beat him. That pretty much will answer questions 80%, 90% of the time, right. I would say. And the fact of the matter is that Bader had him, and Bader's gotten better, whatever, but Bader had him in trouble, and Bader had Jones in no trouble whatsoever. In fact, it was like target practice. So I'm just saying that the level that we're dealing with here when you're talking about a title fight in the 205 division of the UFC right now is, Teixeira isn't, he's not scary like Bones is yet. You know what I mean? He hadn't done anything super brutal.
I agree. DJ, are you on board here with everything that's being said, or do you see him as a world beater?
No, I think Glover's biggest problem is I think he likes to fight too much. I think he is just a tough dude that gets into it, throws himself away, which is great, but I don't think it's how you win championships. I don't think that kind of fighter has been a champion in the last 3 or 4 years. Not that I can think of.
No.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. He might be one of those guys like Forrest, where he kind of likes to get one before he turns on and really goes after it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some fighters really like to be in the fray for a little bit before. But you're right, that is very risky. I mean, you can't give points away, period, ever, ever, ever if you're in the top 10, top 5. That's just not an option, and he gave away a shit ton to a guy like Bader who, if he's going to be considered for title contention, which I guess he is, he needs to do better than that against a guy like Bader. Even though Bader looked good. I mean, let's be fair. Bader looked really, really good coming out. His striking looked way better than he usually did. He's way less clubby than he has in the past, and he put it on Teixeira something awful. But, Teixeira's a warrior, man. And that guy didn't know how to lose. He's never lost before. So he's one of those guys, you hit him in the head with a bat, and he's still going to knock you out. He'll go to the hospital afterwards, but he's going to hurt you first.
Yeah, he's dangerous. Yeah. I think, it is worth mentioning on this card as well that I believe the number is Team Alpha Male is 13-0 since Dwayne Ludwig took over as head coach. That's pretty impressive. Joseph Benavidez is like a monster.
That's about as important of a stat as there is in this sport right now, really. I mean, there aren't many more impressive stats than that.
Yeah, that's a run. It's weird that they don't have any titles. Well, I guess they have Chandler and Bellator, but in the UFC they don't hold any of the titles. But these guys, they're looking like killers right now. absolute killers. I think right now we're going to throw to commercial and see if we can get JT Money in here. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we're trying to. I think I got him ready to go.
All right, let's throw it to commercial right now.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
All right, we are back live here. No Jesse Taylor yet. We're working on this. We're going to get this together here before this show is over. We've still got 30 minutes before Houston Alexander, so we've got some time to get him in. DJ, you are still here, correct?
I am.
All right, and David, are you still rolling with me?
Yeah, I'm here somewhere. I'm
okay.
trying to switch over to my phone so I got better signal.
All right, right on.
Yeah, JT's coming. JT's coming. I got to phone him now.
Okay, we'll get it together.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Do you want to prep everybody with telling them what JT is doing right now?
Yeah, he is actually getting ready. Wow, DJ, you should go to. Did you go to radio school? You got this thing going. Jesse Taylor is fighting this Saturday for World Series of Fighting. He's actually part of their middleweight tournament, and he's taking on Elvis. I don't want to mispronounce Elvis's name. What Elvis Miopasic? I'm terrible with names. Like I didn't even realize that until I started doing this show, how bad I am at pronouncing these people's names. But it's a good fight for Jesse. I mean, he's been going all around. You know, not all the fights have even been televised or whatever, but now we get to see him, you know, on free TV if you have NBC Sports Network. It's a part of a good card. Andre Arlovsky, Mike Kyle, David Branch, Danny Villafort, Holmes Gracie against Derek Maiman, and kind of a sleeper here at the bottom of the card, Georgie Karahanian against Waylon Lowe. That would be a good fight as well. But I'm assuming they're crowning the middleweight champion here.
Yeah, with their tournament.
Yeah, I assume that's the game here. So yeah. I mean, and I think Jesse's got to be the favorite in this tournament of these four guys that they have going at it. Like he's got to be the favorite for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I've trained with Jesse quite a bit in the last year or so. We both won bragging rights. I defended, and he won a bragging rights belt in Perth, Australia. We did a radio show together. We did a podcast for a little while, the Wake and Bake Show, JT in Hollywood. And he is a monster, man. He's a monster. I just don't think there's a lot of middleweights outside the UFC that can beat him. Like, I just you look at, like, you know, he's fighting this guy, the white Mike Tyson. That was, like, 2 fights ago for him. That was what he's getting ready for last time I saw him.
Yeah.
And it was like he's getting ready for this fight against this boxer from England. But then you look at this guy's record, and he's, like, this big, yoked-up dude who's knocking everybody out. But he's only, like, lost by submission, like, once in, like, however many fights. You know what I mean? Like, he has surprisingly low, I don't know the exact numbers, but the point is that he's no slouch whatsoever. Like, you'd think a guy who's, like, associated with boxing would have more submission losses, but he really doesn't. And Jesse went through him like a fucking, like, shit through a goose, man. He was like a minute and a half or something like that, and he finished him off. He got our homie Steve Kennedy and with a rear naked choke in like a minute, and that's been the story of JT's last couple of years. He's traveling around collecting scalps, and he's been doing a damn good job at it. I really don't know if there's anybody in WSOF who is
who's going to be able to really hang with his level of experience and horsepower and his level of wrestling. You know, like even if he fights a guy who's like a totally legit wrestler, like Jesse's wrestling can hang with totally legit wrestling. So it's like, you know, who can you get out from under him? Is anyone going to be able to submit him? Is anyone going to knock him out? You know, like, I don't know, man. He's a freight train. Jesse's a monster. I say he wins.
I mean,
he's my homie. He's my homie too, so I got his back.
Right, sure. I mean, David Branch is in this tournament, and he definitely, I mean, has a strong jiu-jitsu game, but, like, you're right, the horsepower of Jesse Taylor is pretty unbelievable, like, and it takes a special kind of fighter to be able to fend him off.
Look, my jiu-jitsu is pretty good too, man. I couldn't do shit with Jesse. I got up a couple of times, and I was lucky. I'm not joking, man. He's a bigger weight class than me, but still, like, I mean, I can get out from under a dude, and he just, the thing with Jesse is not that he's got really good wrestling. It's not that he has really good striking. It's not that he has really good whatever. The thing with Jesse is that he's got experience, and he's been doing specifically high-level cage fighting for a long, long time. And when you have a guy with that type of wrestling background, where he's got like over 10 years of like high-level wrestling, and you have over 10 years of high-level MMA where he's working in cages, his ability to manipulate you up against the cage is really next level. It really and truly is. Like Jesse can hold people down better than most people can hold people down in a fight. And unless they can, like, anyone who can't neutralize Jesse's wrestling is going to have a really hard time, because, I mean, you can knee him on the way in for the shot. He's still going to take you down and beat you up. He doesn't care. All the important stuff from the neck down on Jesse. That's you're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna, I don't know. He's gonna be real. He's gonna be a big challenge for anybody who has to deal with him in Bellator. I'm rooting for him. Of course, I hope I didn't just jinx him.
You know, the thing is
that shit happens.
The thing that's crazy too is that he's been averaging at least 5 fights a year since 2009.
He's been very active.
Like, so, I mean, that's exciting. Like, and honestly, like, him on this card might be what I'm looking forward to the most, to be honest, to finally see him on like a bigger show again and see what he can do, because, I mean, the main event, Arlovsky against Mike Kyle, like, it's not a very sexy fight for me. Like, I know it was supposed to be Anthony Johnson against Mike Kyle, but he was injured and they brought in Arlovsky. And, like, yeah. I kind of think, like, I see Mike Kyle pulling this one off, actually. Like, I just think that Mike Kyle's meaner than Andre Arlovsky.
Wait, Kyle's fighting Arlovsky coming up?
Yeah.
Well,
Saturday.
Well, I mean, look, Arlovsky is not. He hasn't. Look, his chin went away, right? Like he had a chin for a little while. He had a chin for a little while, like the pre-UFC championship days. He had a chin, and then Tim Sylvia kind of knocked it off of him, and he's been having a hard time ever since. You know, Sylvia knocked off his jaw. Fedor knocked off his jaw. Brett Rogers knocked off his jaw. You know, he's got a lot more miles on his head than he does on the rest of his body, and I think that makes him easy to promote because, like, okay, maybe you'll see a big flashy knockout, but the fact is, that, like, look, being a boxer, like, if you're going to really sit there and trade, and this is what I was touching on with the Jacare thing, is that, like, if you could do it and you can't do it, then you can't do it. And if you could take a punch and you could strike and you're a good boxer, but then every time you get hit, you fall down, you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? The brain's bad. You got problems with your head because you've been knocked out too many times. And I think that Arlovsky's really suffering through that. Mike Kyle, on the other hand, is that who we're talking about, or are we talking about Musasi? I forget who's fighting.
I'm sorry. I'm a terrible host. I was just reading something. What's the question you just asked me?
Jesse's ready. By the way, we could talk to the freight train right now. We'll talk to JT Money. He's ready to go.
Okay, cool.
If you want to call him in, let's just go ahead and do that. And we'll talk about other stuff a little later.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm going to throw the commercial one more time. We'll get this all set up and going.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
Hello.
Hello, I'm here.
All right, you there, DJ? Yeah. In our attempt to get Jesse Taylor on the line, we actually disconnected all of the calls, so that's what that moment of silence was for the listener there. So not only do we not have Jesse Taylor, but we also lost the three of us for a few seconds as well. So my apologies.
Who we got now? Who do we have now?
What's that?
Who do we have now?
Are we all back?
Yeah, it's DJ, you and myself. We're back on.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
What's
he's
that?
got his privacy settings away. We got to figure it out. I'll wait till I hear from him. I think he's waiting to get called, and like his shit won't let us call him. So whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll get him on like next time.
Yeah, we'll talk to him after his next fight. We that's how things go. This is technology, the Skyping and the whatnot. It's all right. We got Houston coming up at 9:00. We'll concentrate on that. Before we get to Houston, though, I think it's appropriate to talk about, we just passed the Bellator card this past weekend, and it was a decent card. I mean, it wasn't one of the big breakout cards that Bellator can give us sometimes, but on Friday night we had Derek Anderson take a decision away from Patricky Freire Pitbull, which clear-cut decision. Like, he really weathered the storm and put it on Pitbull. The middleweight tournament came off, probably the biggest news coming out of that is that Brian Rogers got kind of worked over a little bit and got knocked out of yet another tournament, and Alexander Shlemenko and Brett Cooper put on a barn burner. It was a good fight. Both guys took a ton of damage, and Shlemenko pulled out the decision just like the last time. So pretty good night of fights from Bellator. Is there anything more that needs to be said about those fights in your opinion, David?
Not really. What was our big ones? We had the main event and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know it. Shlemenko, and they made him work for it. Was it Brett Cooper? Was that the guy's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, they fought before, and it was a decision. And apparently Brett Cooper is legit as fuck as well, because he's fought Shlemenko to the decision twice. And I'm sure that guy's probably going to be doing pretty well in the future as well. But, for right now, Shlemenko is able to keep one up over him and grind out a decision, which is good. He had to work for it, which is good. Shlemenko shouldn't have to, just get easy wins all the time. Make this guy earn it.
Yeah.
He's a bad motherfucker, though. I saw something where he's disappointed because he doesn't get to fight that often, because he's like, he needs the money, you know what I mean? He's got to stay active. I mean, it's like a real job for him. He's not working in a bar somewhere. Like, he really needs to fight often. He's got a family to take care of.
Yeah, for sure. And, I was a little excited for the Doug Marshall-Shlemenko fight. I think that would have been a good battle there. Like, I don't see Doug Marshall getting knocked out by Shlemenko, and Doug definitely brings the power to hurt Shlemenko. So I was looking forward to it. DJ, did you have anything to add about the Bellator card from this weekend?
No, I thought it was a good card, but fairly tame card.
Yeah, I agree. We do have this upcoming weekend, we have another Bellator card, which will feature the guest we have coming up at 9 o'clock, Houston Alexander. It's a good one. We got Little Pitbull taking on Diego Nunez in the featherweight tournament opening round, which that will be a good fight. That's a good test for Little Pitbull there. Diego Nunez is tough, and then obviously Houston Alexander's taking on Vladimir Matyushenko. The two big show vets going at it. Shabulet Shamalov against Akap Stepavanian and featherweight tournament. Desmond Green against Fabricio Guerrero and Andrew Fisher against Joe Tamanglio. Those are also part of the featherweight tournament. So basically we have the whole featherweight tournament starting off, and then Houston Alexander and Vladimir Matyushenko kind of thrown in as a feature fight to carry it through, which is good. Put a couple of bigger guys in there for a TV card. I like it. I don't really have predictions. I honestly don't have a lot of predictions on this fight coming up, other than I think it's a good test for Pitbull to fight Diego Nunez, and Houston Alexander Vladdy. I mean, that's kind of going to go one of two ways, right? Houston's either going to steamroll him in a couple of minutes, or Vladdy's going to try to pin him to the ground and grind him and hit him and see what he can do.
I don't think Houston has to win in the first to win the fight. I mean, I think you can go more than just two ways, but I think you're right as far as wins, that's how it'll go.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, David? What do you think about the janitor against Houston Alexander? I mean, we're going to talk to Houston too, but I mean, what's your gut feeling on that?
I really don't know what to say with this one. It really is an interesting matchup because Matyushenko has everyone always ballyhoos him so much about like what a badass he is and everything. If you look at his early record, like that makes sense. But every single time you see him fight in the UFC, he gets fucked up. Like I haven't seen him do that great in the UFC, and not against anyone I recognize, in a while. And I don't know if that's just like a UFC jitters thing, or if that's just the fact that he was a gatekeeper for a while, so he had to fight everyone who came through. But the level of competition that he's faced recently is higher than the level that Houston has been fighting with, and it's also at a higher weight class, I think. Or no, they've always been the same, right? They didn't move.
Yeah. I think Houston's taken some fights at heavyweight here and there throughout his career, and obviously Vladdy, I think, started as the heavyweight, but I think they both mainly home at light heavyweight for the majority of the career.
All right, well, all I got to say is this. All right, Ryan, last two fights for Matyushenko, 2 losses, 2 KOs to Gustafsson, and to submission to Ryan Bader. Both were title challengers in the UFC against Bones Jones. We'll see how Alexander does as in Gustafsson.
Right.
But those are 2 super high-level opponents. I mean, and then you have Houston, who is on a 3-fight losing streak, and then he's on a 2-fight upward swing with Dennis Reed and Chuck Grigsby, not quite Gustafsson and Bader.
Right.
So if you look at it, it's like on paper, I would say it favors Matyushenko. But first of all, it's a fight. No one expects him to do what he did to Keith Jardine or Sakar or whatever. Houston Alexander's a killer. So if Matyushenko doesn't, I feel like if he fucks up, like he could easily get taken out. So I feel like Matyushenko's inconsistent. I feel like Houston's more consistent. Matyushenko has fought bigger, meaner dudes, but even though he's lost, he's still fighting a high level. So I would say that gives him the advantage just because of the category he's coming out of.
Yeah,
he's been there more recently. But we'll see what happens. I'd love to hear what Houston has to say about it too. As far as his preparation and stuff, like what is he doing to get ready for this opponent? What's his regime like? Because his fight style is so consistent. I'd love to hear a little bit about. Maybe we can talk to him. I guess find out a little bit about his preparation.
Right. There's one more thing I want to hit on before we get to that 1 hour mark and talk to Houston. And let me throw out again that the audience can call in 347-324-5998. Find us on Facebook, Real Combat Media, Twitter @Real Combat Media. But what I want to bring up is we did see the premiere of The Ultimate Fighter last week, 2-hour premiere, the elimination fights, both men and women at 135 pounds. I always like the opening episode because it's all fights. Like, I mean, it kind of cuts out the bullshit and you just get in there. And we saw some upsets, with some really seasoned women in there get taken out by young up-and-comers, Tanya Evinger and Tara LaRosa, neither one making it into the house. But, of course, then Shayna Baszler making it in is the favorite. They've got her slated to fight first on the card, too. I was really impressed with it. David, did you get a chance to watch it?
I watched it. I loved it. I thought, first of all, whatever the Tough crew is doing, when they tossed out their Spike TV crew and they got their Fox TV crew, they traded up big time because the production crew on these last 2 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, whatever they're doing is working. This whole the Bones Jones Chael Sonnen season, and then this one Ronda and Misha. It's just great. They're just doing it right. They figured it out. They got all the cogs moving in the right direction finally with The Ultimate Fighter. So it's like badass and it's cool again, and like even as a fighter, like I'm interested. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like, oh, I hope it's not even like, I don't know, like it's not even like an inspiring thing. Like they got the entertainment aspect of it down. You know? Yeah. Like it's entertaining. It's fun. And what I really like, I'll tell you something I love. The high point for me, I don't know why I thought this was so awesome, but it was when Ronda was yelling at her fighter for like that last match or whatever that they had, and she had like just veins coming out of her neck, and she was screaming. Her voice dropped like an octave, and it was just badass. Like she has this like, she's a fighter. You know what I mean? Like she's not in this for any other reason than to beat people up. And then Misha is a little bit more savvy, when it comes to they're very much a Matt Damon, Ben Affleck of the mixed martial arts world. You've got the consummate talent, the true professional, and your Matt Damon or Ronda, and then you have like someone like Misha who loves the spotlight, more of a Ben Affleck, when it comes to those two. But she's also much better at handling lights and cameras and people hitting on her and shit like that, versus Ronda who might just punch you or whatever. Like she can hang too, but the two of them have very different temperaments and they're cast excellent. What I really think is interesting is the fact that they've got men and women of the same weight class, which means that they can train together. Yeah. And they're all living in the same house, which means they're going to fuck each other. And that's hilarious to me because I don't know what, like it really is like it's the ultimate like real world like flavor of love, like cage fighting all rolled up into one. Like they just got all the ratios just right. And this season's fucking crazy. I do not know what is going to happen, and I plan on watching until it bores me. Yeah, I'm stoked.
I'll tell you this, my legitimate first reaction when I heard that they were going to have men and women in the house was, oh my God, I hope that they don't have liquor or somebody's going to get raped. And I'm not even joking. That was my initial reaction of men and women being in the house.
Nah, no one's going to rape anyone. I don't know any rapey fight. Well, I don't hang out with any rapey fighters. I think most cage fighters are pretty non-rapey.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. DJ, did you get to watch The Ultimate Fighter?
Rape is generally frowned upon in our sports. So.
Generally.
Generally.
Not like those scumbags in polo. Am I right? I'm right.
Exactly.
No, I like David's comparison there. Yeah, it is. You know what the real world needed more? Every person on there needed to be a weaponized human. Needed to be a fucking killing machine. You know what would make the real world better? If Puck was a ninja. Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's something, all right.
DJ, you just suggest that polo players are like they're sort of like a rapist cavalry.
Wouldn't it be great if just tomorrow we're just littered with hate mail from polo enthusiasts?
Yeah, what a silly sport. Hey, I think it's sad that polo and water polo are so different. I think that's
yeah,
there should be horses in both of them. I'm just saying.
Air hockey.
Yeah, it's about the same. these comparisons that you guys have here, this is dynamite. Like, I really on the last episode, David compared Sean Shirt to Art Jimerson, which was my favorite for that episode. But
how did I get to that one?
I don't know, but I think Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey is definitely taking the cake for me on this episode.
I like it. It's a case of ill will hunting.
Nice job, DJ.
I do, but I think this is the. I don't want to say best, because there's definitely been a resurgence in the Ultimate Fighter. I think there were a couple of admittedly bad years, and it's picked up a great deal, like in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, I'd say so. There's a few seasons that I did not watch of the show, and some of them were because I was disinterested. Others were that I was just busy. I always went back and at least like caught up, and I watched the finales, and I like kind of kept up on it, like as far as like on the internet and stuff. But there's definitely been some seasons that didn't really do it for me. I did not see a single episode of the season that JT was on. And I don't know what the reason for that was. I think I was working those nights or something. Like, I just didn't watch it that particular season. But I still know what happened. Like, I got the gist of it all.
That was a good season.
Tough 7. I feel like Tough 7 was the best season until they had the first lightweight season where Gray Maynard came out. That was the Junie Browning moment of Ultimate Fighting.
Yeah.
And then it sort of on a downward slide until they got this new production. Until they got with Fox and got their shit together, the Ultimate Fighter was at the time the Ultimate Fighter was not doing too great. In fact, I believe that part of the motivation for them changing and obviously they're moving from Spike to Fox, so like that's going to be part of it, and that could have been the reason. But I was also thinking that part of the reason would be that the season previous to the Bones Sonnen season was known as one of the worst seasons of the Ultimate Fighter. It was just, and it wasn't like the fighters. It was just a house full of fighters. Like they could have made it good, but the production, whoever's doing the post production, the editing and stuff, it just didn't work. It just didn't work at all. I watched the Tough Smashes when that season was over because I was in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Xavier was all there, but still, like Smashes was entertaining. But I watched a couple of the American episodes. I wasn't that into it.
Yeah, I didn't see Smashes at all. Like, I did watch the finale, and Ross Pearson looked like a boss for sure. But yeah. So, what'd you say, David?
Oh, I didn't see. I said I was did the opposite. I saw the episodes, but I didn't see the finale.
Oh, okay. Now here's a good question: did either of you guys watch a single episode of Bellator's Fight Master?
I've seen one episode. Yes, Joe Riggs fought a dude.
Yeah, DJ, did you see an episode?
I watched the first episode, and I wanted to watch more, but it didn't capture me. I didn't go back to it. Like, the first episode was weird, too, because there was a lot of just them picking teams, right?
Yeah, it was weird because have you ever seen that show, The Voice? That's like American Idol, but the celebrities have their chairs facing the other way?
Right.
Yeah. They have to pick them.
Yeah, that's...
You be my baby. I'm going to make you a star.
Yeah,
we're going all the way.
Exactly. And it was weird because it's like working the personality of the coaches on a Fight Master. But the thing with Fight Master is that, like, I would watch it a lot when I come home from work. Like, I do a show and I get home like 3 o'clock in the morning, and usually I've been drinking a little bit. And it was like watching The Ultimate Fighter with your eyes squinted because everything kind of looked the same. They have Jimmy Smith standing in the middle of the cage. He's bald. He's wearing a suit with no tie with a top button undone. And so it's like you could kind of think you were watching The Ultimate Fighter. But I actually liked the show. Like, I felt like it was less, once you got past that first episode, it seemed like less reality show bullshit than The Ultimate Fighter. And The Ultimate Fighter has gotten better about it, but I want less of the guys pulling pranks on each other in the house and more of them training and getting ready to fight somebody. And that's
I 100% agree with that.
I guarantee you that we have girls in the house this time, and we are not going to see the same shenanigans. It's going to be a totally different breed of shenanigans.
I'm just telling you, either way, too. It could bring out like the best people.
What was that, DJ?
it could go either way having women around. Like, I don't know if they'll act more like humans or less like you, or more like humans. I guess a different inflection on the same sentence. But, like, I really don't know. I almost hope that, like, I'm hoping against good. I hope they go with the fighting as opposed to television. Do you know what I mean? I really hope they showcase these people's skills and don't make it real worldy if we're going to take chick fighting seriously.
I'm looking forward to the mid-season. Like, I don't know if you can tell, I got the wheels turning for the potential for this season here. But maybe the mid-season fight where the dude calls out the girl in his weight class because he doesn't like that bitch, and that's the conversation that Dana has to negotiate. I can't wait for that. Or all the female fighters, period, sync up, and then they just go on a killing spree on Freeman.
They become like a super villain organization. They start taking over small governments.
Reporting live from Las Vegas, the Palace Station Casino has been burned to the ground. We can't figure out the source yet. We're looking into it.
There is a G.I. Joe-esque cabal of angry women.
I'm serious, because their periods are going to sync up if they're there for more than a few months, and that's scary. Do you want to be the guys' team who has to tell the girls' team during, that week that they got to get out of the room and so they can use the gym? Like, do you want to be on that team to tell those girls to leave?
No, and which I want to point out that what typical men we are, even as respectful as we are, we can't talk about the women fighters without talking about their periods. But
we're totally grown up. We're totally evolved.
A serious note about this is I can remember when Gina Carano was the star and she was always having trouble making weight, which she was just having trouble making weight anyway. But I think she did bring up a pretty good point about women cutting weight when they're on their period and retaining water weight and how much more difficult it is for them. And that's an interesting element that you don't really think about, but I'm sure that it does add an extra level of stress.
Well, of course, all this stuff, man. And when you're like all this stuff with Fallon Fox and with the Ronda wagon that everybody's on, the Misha wagon that people are hopping on these days now too. Like you have certain things to consider with female MMA that we didn't have to think about with men, because men don't have the same parts as women, and their bodies do different shit. And so we're going to have to figure out, how much stuff like that actually matters. I still want to get into it with you guys about the whole Fallon Fox thing, because I don't know if that's something we have time for on this show. Maybe we do a different one, or we can get somebody in to talk about it. But I think that's a really interesting topic, how we have this advent in women's mixed martial arts, and it's being embraced. I'll tell you what I really noticed from the Ultimate Fighter show is that I was really into the girl fights. And I've watched girls fight before, and they were good and all that, but it's usually on a card saturated with a bunch of dudes that are looking forward to see fight because they're like names. But when you have a bunch of no-name dudes and a bunch of no-name girls, you just have a bunch of badass fights.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest draws of female fights right now, and I would like to hear Dave would have a better opinion on this than I would at all completely. I feel like it's still in kind of that birthing stage. Like there's still a whole lot of different camps in female fighting. They're still kind of learning how to fight the way women should fight, as far as jiu-jitsu and body position and striking goes. You've got a different toolbox. And I think the fact that it's still kind of in those formative years is what lends it to being so interesting. Like, it doesn't look as, it's not as planned out and strategized as is male MMA, in my opinion.
I can see that. I think that depends. Well, I can see that.
There seems to be still a bit more of a brawling element with the women, but I'll say this: when we were talking about Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, like the difference between the two of them, I mean, the experience level, of course, like actually in the cage. I was at the fight where Miesha Tate took the Strikeforce title from Marlis Conan, and it was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen in my life. I mean, Miesha just hit the takedowns, stayed on top, neutralized her guard, nothing happened. But then you see Miesha fighting now this many years later, and her stand-up's looking good. She's looking tough. She's definitely the more complete fighter than Ronda Rousey, but then Ronda has, used fire. She is just so intense, and what she does perfectly, and it really does make kind of a great rivalry because Ronda fits a little more into that Diaz style. She's, what she's going to do. She's bringing it to you. And I don't mean the Diaz, the actual, her technique, but just the mentality of the fight. She's coming at you. She's got this game plan. And it's really Misha's job to find a way to neutralize it instead of just fighting fire with fire, in my opinion.
Yeah, when you're dealing with a high specialist like that, you're dealing with a Jesse Taylor who's going to take you down and beat you up and submit you. You're dealing with a Ronda who's going to toss you and break your arm. You're dealing with Vanderlei Silva who wants to tie plumb you and knee you in the head. Anyone who is really much better than other people at one thing, you have to approach it cautiously. Or you could take the other route, which would be just to try and go right through them. Which sometimes that works too, because you bully the bully. But as a fighter, if I'm dealing with a guy who's a super jiu-jitsu specialist or something like that, then in my training camp, I'm training my jiu-jitsu, and I'm only focused on not getting beaten by jiu-jitsu. And then I'm just going to let my strengths come out naturally. That's what somebody like Misha needs to do if she's going to rematch Ronda, because Ronda's not going to not do what she does. You know what I mean? Right. Ronda's not going to bust out a spin kick or some crap like that. Ronda's going to probably break her other arm. I'm just saying, in all probability, that's what she wants to do. In all likelihood, that's going to be what she wants to do. What you got to do is neutralize that judo somehow. You got to keep your hips low. Can't let her get up underneath you. You really can't let her clinch, honestly, because someone you get to high level judo, the clinch that's the end game for them. These people are as comfortable in a clinch in an over under position as a jiu-jitsu black belt would be in mount or in side control, how they can just chill, and they don't have to do a lot of effort. That's how a good wrestler or a good judoka or someone like that is when they get into clinch. And when you're so good at it, like Ronda, if she touches you, you're going down. So you better play an outside striking game. That's what I would say. A lot of footwork. Ronda's a tough nut to crack, man. She's a bad bitch.
She is. I mean, she's one of the few fighters that nowadays that when I watch fights actually kind of creates emotion in me, where I want to see that her fights. It's when I used to watch Fedor fight, I used to be that way because when he came to the States, I was kind of worried that was always going to be the fight that he was going to lose, and so
right.
I was hoping against hope that he was going to stay this phenomenon that just bowled through everyone. I remember I was nervous when Quentin Jackson came to the UFC. There's a few fights, and Ronda Rousey's that way for me right now. I'm kind of oh man, I'm wondering. Yeah, exactly. And so Ronda Rousey, she gives me the pins and needles a little bit when she fights. Her last fight, with the way that she bull rushed with the jabs, I love just seeing the new tools come out each time. It's pretty impressive. And although she was in trouble in her last fight for sure, but she got out of trouble in her last fight too, and that's just as important.
Yeah, well, we're dealing with in Ronda, we're dealing with an undefeated fighter. Same thing in Glover, Teixeira, where you got it. There's a big difference for. I don't know. This is something that I think I experienced, and a lot of fighters probably. I don't know if other fighters can necessarily say yes or no, but there's a huge difference between. We can ask. We can ask Nick. There's a huge difference between an undefeated fighter and a fighter that has not been undefeated. A guy who's had a loss, a guy who's taken one or two losses versus a guy who's got a perfect record. That guy who's got the perfect record is not, they don't understand that they can lose. You know what I mean? When they have that really good record intact, losing is not a reality for them because it hasn't happened yet, and they've only known winning. So if losing starts to happen in a fight, they don't think, oh, this is the part where I might lose. They think, fuck this bitch, and they just fight harder.
Right.
Because they don't understand that, they're in danger, and that works out really well. That also can, it can work against them too, though. Because, when you've had a loss or two, then you're more cautious, you're more calculating, you're more strategic, you're more technical, or you're supposed to be. Because if you lost, you probably should have fixed something, or else you're just going to, you see guys lose over and over the same way.
Right.
Coleman's going to learn how to defend an armbar one day. You know what I'm saying? It can be done. It's not like he can't. He just chooses not to.
Yeah.
But there's whenever you're dealing with anyway, that's my spiel on that.
Yeah. So here I have something, a little change of gears here. Houston just texted me, and he's still in the gym. He's running a little bit late, but we are about to bring Nick Newell in here, actually, in just a minute. So we're just going to flip-flop the two interviews. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to throw it to the commercial, and then we're going to come back on with notorious Nick Newell.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
Hey, how's it going?
MMA Radio. Nick, are you here with us? Hello, Nick. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Nick Newell, thank you for joining us on Real Combat Media MMA Radio. I am Isaac Lampert. We've also got pro fighter David Hollywood Hewlett and comedian DJ Dangler on the panel here to talk to you. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? I think that guy, Paulette, you fought in New Hampshire before, right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Or the comedians?
Oh, okay.
I have a terrible record in New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I thought you said he was a fighter. I heard some guy that fought.
Yeah, no. I got 2 fights in New Hampshire. I fought for a Combat Zone.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I fought the Ghost, Dan. What's his name? Dan Keefe, and I fought Thomas Moreau up there. They did not like me. It was like I might as well have been from playing for the Yankees.
It's okay, man. I'm from Connecticut.
I've never been. Oh, that's cool. I think I met you actually, dude. I think I met you at the in Vegas at the Hard Rock for the weigh-ins for the what was that show they had out of the Hard Rock a couple
World
times?
Series of Fighting?
No. MMA Explosion. Were you there? Were you at the weigh-ins for that one? Like the second MMA Explosion show in Vegas? I could have sworn I met you. I think I made this. Let's talk about WSOF.
Probably some other dude. It's probably some other dude with one hand. We all look the same.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know what? And you said it first, Nick.
Time it does in Vegas.
I want to say, 10-0. You've only had one fight go out of the first round at this point. And you said it. You do have one arm, which I think that you probably have to address every single interview that you do. But what I want to ask you is, obviously, it's part of who you are. You are an inspirational fighter, but when does the conversation switch to how inspirational you are to how dangerous you are? Because you've got 9 first-round finishes in 10 fights right here. You are on a roll, man.
Yeah, just watch me fight, and then it changes over. I think, hopefully, it's just the first thing you notice. But I'm more so an MMA fighter that happens to have one hand than a guy with one hand that happens to be an MMA fighter. So
I would say the novelty's gone after seeing you fight the second time. The first time you're like, that's interesting. The second time you're definitely just watching the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. My main question for you to start is, you're signed on with World Series of Fighting now. You vacated the XFC lightweight title. Is that right? Were you in contract still with XFC, or were you like at an in-between point and you just opted to not stay with them?
No, it expired. It expired and my contract was up, so I was open for negotiations, and I liked what World Series had to offer the best, so I went there. And you know, certain people try to make it sound other ways or make me look bad or whatever, but that's how it is. And certainly, you know, I certainly didn't go the easy route.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was going to say, because there was some talk where they tried to make it sound like you refused a fight and you were stripped of the title. If you were afraid to fight somebody, I don't think you would have signed on to fight the guys in the lightweight division with World Series of Fighting. That's my impression.
I think I just like, you know, like go to a local show or something. But yeah, I mean, it's stupid. It was, I could see how they would just try to make their guys look better or whatever. But you know, I thought it was silly. It doesn't make any sense. But I think everyone kind of figured that out themselves, you know.
Yeah. I know that, like, coming into the World Series of Fighting, like, I was watching the Twitter conversations that were going on during your fight, and you're kind of a polarizing fighter from what I see, like, because there's so many people that are recognizing what you're doing, and I think that there's other people who are just waiting. They think that, like, they're just waiting for the wall where it's like, oh, okay, he's been out there, he's been doing it, but when you're finishing guys in the first round like this with the submissions, with knees, like, all the way around, I mean, definitely, it's not just a hype train. You're for real. And my question, do you know who you're fighting next? Have they talked to you yet?
No, they haven't told me who I'm fighting next. But the truth is, I really don't care. I'll fight whoever they offer me. So whatever they have planned for me sounds good to me. You know, I want to win the belt, so I'm gonna fight whoever they tell me to fight and just work my way up.
Right on. That was what I was going to ask next. Like, where you saw yourself, if you like want to keep building up, or if they came to you and said, "Hey, we want you to fight someone like Volkman for the title right now," you go for that fight as well. Then. Yeah,
I take that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear. I've actually.
Yeah,
the division looks good
over
there too. Like,
you know?
there's good fights. If it's not the title, I don't know what they plan on doing with the title at this point, but like, I'd say that you're definitely in the running there. You've definitely got a lot of hype going around you right now, and there's some vets over there for you really to take that step up and really see what you got going on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's good in the division, and it's the toughest division the World Series has, and you know, I think you know, they're definitely making some noise right there with the lightweight division, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that I, you know, get to be considered amongst all these other guys that are very talented and proven, and I just can't wait to go out there and, you know, show them number one.
Yeah, fantastic. David, do you have some questions for Nick here?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. First of all, Nick, you're really good. I'm checking your record. Whenever I check people's records, they're, you know, what's your record? Were you like 10, 11-0? Is that it?
10-0, yeah.
Yeah, right in there, right? So,
yeah.
What was? I'm sorry. What was the exact number? I feel like you said it and I didn't hear it.
He said 10.
10-0, yeah.
10.
Okay,
10-0,
so
yeah.
Most people, okay, you see these guys, you hear some hype built around them, and you take a look at their record. This is what I do. As a fighter, I'll go to the databases, and I go and look up the records, who they fight, who they just fight, who the people they just fight, did they lose, did they win their last fight, who they lose to, they have winning records, all that stuff. And I'm looking at Nick Newell's info. I'm like, okay, you know, there's, yeah, like DJ said, there's a certain amount of novelty associated with it, but you got to appreciate the fact that obviously you know how to fight. I mean, you're pulling off stuff that is hard for any fighter to pull off, you know, under any circumstances. Period. That's it. You're a good fighter. But what I think is really impressive is the fact that almost all of your fights, at least the back nine of them, you know, so to speak, is that people all have winning records. Which and someone who's only had 10 fights, you don't see that often, you know. And I guess you became a champion, you know, pretty much on your first run. So that so obviously they're going to throw you like good guys, but it doesn't seem like that with an XFC. It doesn't seem like that's the type of organization that tends to have title fights, just have title fights. Like you see that a lot. You'll see like the champion who's like 10-0 against like a guy who's like, I don't know, like 5-5 or something like that. You see that a lot in smaller promotions. And you have not had you haven't. It doesn't look like you've taken any shortcuts whatsoever, even within like a 10-fight record where you're essentially just getting your feet wet in the sport, but you're doing so well, and it doesn't seem like you've had a particularly easy path. Who would you say is your most difficult fight and why?
I don't know. They're all tough in their own way. Your next one's always your toughest one. I know that's a little cliche, but
who beat you up the worst?
I went to the decision with Chris Coggins, and he had a good second round. So I'd say that was my toughest fight because it's the only one that really went past the first round.
Yeah, I guess so. You got a bunch of first rounds. What's your game plan when you go into a fight? Do you have the highly strategic, watch a lot of tape approach, or do you more like Vanderlei Silva, train for everything? I'm good at everything. I'm coming. Get ready.
I train for everything. Obviously, each opponent brings a different skill set, so we get ready for what they have, and it's not like I'm going to go out there and I'm going to throw a one and then an elbow and then a kick, and then after that I'm going to do this. Like, I just work on a bunch of stuff, and then when the fight comes up, we just fight. I mean, my last opponent, was a very good athlete. He was a big lightweight. He was very explosive off the start, so we wanted to just go in there and not necessarily even take him down, but just put my weight on him and wear him out a little bit, and then start taking it to him. But it turned into a little bit of a slugfest, and I ended up taking him down, and choking him out. So, I come up with like little things to do in the fight, but no straight game plan. And I certainly don't go out there like, oh, I'm just gonna brawl,
Yeah, just like wild. I mean, you're technical. I noticed that. You've got a lot of. This is something that I was interested. I was going to ask you about your martial. Well, can you nutshell your martial arts background? Like, how'd you get started in all this stuff? Would you play other sports when you were growing up? You're a wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, I played soccer and I played baseball growing up.
All right.
And when I got to high school, I wanted to try something new. I thought pro wrestling was cool, so I'll join the wrestling team, and it was completely different, and I kind of, I got my butt whooped when I first started, but I fell in love with it. That's kind of my background, but I've always had a very open mind. I never had the type of personality to where anything I achieve is ever good enough. I always want more, and I always keep an open mind, and I always try to learn. And I'll take advice from anybody who's willing to give it, and at least try it out for a little bit. But I have some really good coaches, and the good thing about being an adult in an MMA is you can pick whatever team you want to be on, and I have great coaching, and I'm just a lucky guy.
Who are you training with now? What team are you with right now?
Fighting Arts Academy. My main camp is in Springfield, Mass. My head coach is Jeremy Lewishewski, boxing coach Scott Labrie, and then I train at Ultimate MMA in North Haven as well with a guy named Andrew Palantrelli, very good, black belt. I cross train at a place called Future Athletics in Stamford, Connecticut, and then I'll go down to ATT in Florida every once in a while, but. Okay. I do strength and conditioning with a guy named Matt Ramos, a place called Ramos Athletic Conditioning Center. He has a great program for me. And, I'm lucky I have so many people that I can train with and help me out. But my main camp is in Springfield, Mass. At Fighting Arts Academy.
That's awesome. That's good. You got a really good team. I think that your career so far really reflects a stability at home, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like you have some consistency in your performance. I think that reflects consistency in other stuff usually. You know what I mean? You see that in fighters where they tend to drop off, and then you find out, oh, that's when you got arrested or whatever. That's why you started losing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't put too much pressure.
Sounds
on
like you
myself,
got a real good. You seem like a very drama-free type of dude. Although if you played every sport in high school, you're probably popular as shit, right?
Oh no, I only wrestled in high school.
Oh, you only wrestled, so you probably weren't popular.
No, in high school, and see, here's the one thing, I just always been myself, So I never really try to be anything I'm not. In high school, I didn't go out and party or anything like that. I just wanted to be a wrestler, and everyone kind of knew that. So I wasn't like the coolest kid. I wasn't like the cool kid in school. Certainly not, but I definitely wasn't I wasn't it wasn't bad. Like I had a ton of friends. I just kind of always did my own thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a cage fighter.
That's Nick. He just does what he does, and I've always been nice to everyone and just very focused and driven.
Right. Kind of a weirdo. He does his thing, works hard, is in good shape. I don't know.
Yeah, a little weird, but who isn't?
I had one more question. I know, Isaac, you want to move everything along. I have one more question for you, Nick. What you got a extensive history of wrestling and grappling and stuff. I guess the jiu-jitsu kind of worked that in when you started fighting. Am I guessing right with that? Is that when you started picking up the heel hooks and the arm bars and stuff?
Oh no, my coach is just teach me everything and whatever I pick up on. My coach has very good leg locks. And, the guillotine, I was a front headlock guy in wrestling. I started jiu-jitsu the same time I started striking, and
okay.
I didn't really. I'm 27 now. I didn't really take it serious until I was 22. So,
right.
I'm really still very new to this, and there's a lot of improvement that I can make, and I don't have a fight plan right now, but there's a lot of things that I felt I did wrong in my fight and that I need to work on, and I'm working on it now.
I've got a technical question for you. Considering the fact that you've got less of an arm than most fighters, what techniques have you improvised, like striking and grappling? Because I've always wondered that. Because I watch your fights, and I'm like I don't know if this is really how much of an advantage and how much of a disadvantage do you find it is? Because it seems like it's working out for you.
Yeah, everyone asks me that question. There's really no answer for it. I don't know what it's like to have I just always fight.
Like chokes and stuff.
I fight with what I have. I don't have a cross. I just throw an elbow, and when I wrestle,
is it?
What?
Sorry, I got so many questions. With your when it comes to striking, is the left arm? This is the shorter arm. It's the left arm, right? You have the power right. Is it all elbow? Is it like everything you throw with your left hand is an elbow?
Yeah, it's always an elbow. There's no special rules. I don't have an end of it, so there's really no need for.
Has anyone ever tried to Has anyone ever tried to put a glove on their arm?
You should wear a glove or whatever. Yeah, that's dumb because I don't have the end of it. So what's the point? It's just gonna fall off 10 times during the fight, and you're gonna have to have breaks. And it's just dumb, I don't. People are just gonna hate on me no matter what, and try to be like, oh, this guy's cheating, and people don't want to see me win for some reason. But I have more people that support me than idiots that don't, But it's just it's a very valid question, but I just hit with an elbow, so there's no need for anything else,
Yeah. Well, it's always really interesting to see a talented athlete like yourself who has had to improvise and is still successful, and it's always cool to see how that all happens. And I'm always thinking how do you improvise for grips? That heel hook that you hit in that one fight. You didn't have to route the thumb or anything to get around the heel. It was just there. It seems like it was.
Yeah, they're not really advanced.
You had a couple.
Anyone can do it like that. You just have to grab at your elbow instead of grabbing your wrist or your hand. It's really stuff anyone can do. I just do it different. I could have had two hands, but sometimes that's not the way things play out, and you got to play with the cards you're dealt, and you got to work with what you got. So that's my attitude. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it and bitch and things like that, whatever. I don't think it's like a huge advantage, and I'm certainly not complaining that I'm at a disadvantage. So yeah, it's just
well, it's not like you're not doing anything illegal. You're just fighting. So what? You're good at it. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. That's it. You train hard and you show up and you win, and that's all that really matters. I don't know, dude. You got my support. I'm stoked to see you fight in the future.
DJ, you want to ask Nick the question real quick before we let him go?
I very much do. I want to say I absolutely love watching you fight, Nick, and I love how you very much have your own style. It's almost a poetic thing to watch. I enjoy it a great deal. But I was wondering if you, especially as an undefeated guy and a guy who's only been doing this for 4 or 5 years, do you still have a style or a type of fighter you hate going up against? Do you hate going up against a long, rangy guy? Do you hate going up against a little short, stocky wrestler? I mean, you've had success against a varied number of opponents, but do you still have the, God damn it, I've got to fight another wrestler, or do you like seeing what they can all do?
No, I mean, every different body type or skilled fighter has their own little thing that's a little annoying that I don't like that they're good at. But, I don't mind testing myself, so if I had to fight 20 wrestlers in a row or 20 strikers in a row, I wouldn't care because I'm pretty well-rounded and my coaches and I get together and we figure out the weakness and how to beat these people, and it's a non-issue to me. Honestly, I'll just fight whoever,
Yeah, and I've got to think, as an undefeated fighter, are you ready for the best in the world? Is that your aspirations? You want to be Nick Newell, champion of the universe?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready to fight whoever. I can beat anyone in the world on any given day, and I know it, and my team knows it, and I just have to show it, and I'm not running. I'm here. I got my feet down, and whoever wants to come meet me in the cage can come and get it.
All right, so that is the plan, just more and more.
Yeah, and honestly, people ask me what my long-term goals is, and like, oh, what do you want? What do you look about in the future? I just take it one step at a time, and I'm going to be the best mixed martial artist that I can be, and I'm going to take it as far as I can, and that's my plan. Do
you think that takes
I'm going to work and I'm going to grow every day, and I'm just going to stay humble and keep learning and keep fighting tougher and tougher guys, and who knows where this can take me. When I first started training, I didn't think I'd be fighting for one of the biggest organizations in the world, but if you asked me what I thought was going to happen, if you said, hey, do you think this will happen, I'd say I wouldn't. It could, I'm just gonna work real hard and fight hard, and then wherever this takes me. I've always just been kind of lived for the present and kind of just enjoyed the ride, and I think it'd be pretty far.
Awesome.
Your coach, you're doing good now.
Yeah.
Nick, one thing that really sticks out to me about your career is kind of a rarity is, like, the majority, or at least 50% of your career has been on live television, hasn't it?
Yeah, half my fights have been on live TV, yeah.
Yeah, and it is that's incredible to, like, be 5 fights in and they put you on television, and you've been, like, pretty showcased in all 5 of those fights, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Like, I'm thinking that's how many fights I've seen where you were on the marquee, one of the, like, 6 guys that they were talking about before the fights came on.
Yeah, no, I got an interesting story, so that certainly helps, but I think more importantly than anything is that when I fight to win. I don't fight to not lose. A lot of people play it safe and just want to win, and as soon as that fight starts, I'm coming to finish that fight. I'm out. I'm out for blood. The nice Nick is gone, and the fighter in me that comes out, and everything I ever worked for, everything that I want, someone's trying to take that from me. So, that kind of lights a little fire under my ass. And I don't go out there saying, "Oh, I'm going to be exciting." Like I really don't. They're like, "Oh, you got to make it exciting." Like I was like, I don't care. I just want to win, but how I fight is just naturally exciting.
Right. And this last question I'm going to ask you, like, I know you said you take it, one fight at a time, all that, and I'm sure it's the question that you get all the time, and it's awkward because you're fighting for World Series of Fighting, but is your goal, do you see yourself, you want to be in the UFC, you want to fight the top lightweights in the world, or do you think that maybe you stick out World Series of Fighting and see if you can get that same crop of guys over there?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Time will see it. World Series of Fighting treat me really well, and one thing they have is they're very loyal to their fighters, and they treat us really well, and they take a lot into consideration for us, and I'm very happy fighting for them. I really think you're going to see a huge boom and growth for them as a company, and the fights they're putting on, the shows they're putting on are very exciting and entertaining. And, I'll be there this weekend when they have a show this Saturday night. Don't watch boxing. Watch NBC Sports for free. And there's a lot of great fights on that card. They got the middleweight tournament, and it's in Atlantic City, so that's always a fun time. So I'll definitely be there. I'm very happy with World Series Fighting. I really couldn't ask for more. They're just doing such a great job, and a great company to work for. And I like being on the team.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. We talked to Josh Berkman last week, and that was the same thing he was saying. He's like, you can't ask for anything more, that they're treating everybody with respect. The deals are what they should be, and they're making the moves. It's just the beginning, and you guys get to be on the ground floor, and that's fantastic. Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Do you want to plug your Twitter or anything before you get out of here?
Yeah, follow me on the Twitter. My name is at Notorious Newell. If you want to send me a tweet, I'll send you one back. And I got a fan page, facebook.com/NickNewellMMA, and I'm also on the Instagram as well. So it's at Notorious Newell for that too. And
all right.
You can follow me. I post pictures of my cats all the time, so you'll get to
just
know
like
them
everyone
as well,
else.
And it'll just be a magical experience for everyone.
Awesome, fantastic. Hey, when you find out your next fight, you want to come back on and talk to us about it?
You will be the first people I tell.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, take care of yourself. Have a good night.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
All right.
Yeah.
See you later, man.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Nick Newell, good dude.
What did he do?
Yeah, no, he is awesome. And like, what's hilarious is that before we started recording the show, I was like, you know what, I think we should interview Nick Newell. I don't want to talk about his fucking arm. Like, let's just. I don't want, but then you can't help it. You cannot help it because there are a million questions, and but like I said, he's got to get tired of it, like getting harped on. I mean, I could kind of hear it in his voice there. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe advantages, maybe disadvantages, whatever.
This goddamn thing again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we're jerks, like that. We have a radio show. That's what we do. Like we gotta talk about the arm. That's what everybody wants to know.
I didn't listen to those other interviews, and I wanted to know, and I figured I'd rather listen to him anyway than someone else talking about him.
And the fact is, he's a killer.
And he's the thing that you can't like DJ. You mentioned the novelty aspect with the fact that he's got one arm. Who gives a shit? The dude's good. He's really good.
Yeah,
he's got a bunch of first round finishes against winning records.
Yeah.
What?
You quit notice. It's why you start watching, and then what you're watching is just a killing machine. It's insane. It's one of the. He might be my favorite fighter to watch right now in a weird type of way. I mean, it's impressive, especially that he keeps beating solid dudes. I want to see how long this story can go, as much as I can be interested in a lot of fighters.
I wish. I don't bet on fights. I don't put money down. I do some fantasy MMA with very low stakes, and a lot of times I just do it for free or whatever because it's a hard sport to bet on. If you're trying to make something, I mean, anyone can, bet on George St. Pierre to get a decision, but there's no money in it.
Right.
But, I wish, that I bet money on Nick Newell in his last fight because, like I said, I was watching Twitter and I was surprised. Like, I don't see how you watch that guy and aren't just rooting for him because I was seeing people on Twitter that were just like, this is it. They brought him to the big show. This is when we're going to see Nick Newell exposed. And, yeah, he got
people are just
in the
angry.
fight. Yeah,
He's had 10 fights. People need to shut the fuck up, dude. He's had 10 fights. Who cares? He gets exposed. The fuck is that bullshit? How do you expose a fighter who's only had 10 fights? You can't expose shit. He could he could lose his next 3, and he'd still be just as good as he is now. He'd probably be better.
Yeah, and I guess
take those wins away.
On the right path.
He is, and I think really what it is exactly like what he said when I brought up the fact that half of his fights have been televised. He said he's got a unique story, and so he's marketable, and I think that's exactly what it is that he's maybe a little higher on the marquee than another person. And it's kind of, fuck that. It's 9 first-round finishes out of 10 fights. Like, he deserves it. Like, no question about it. But people are going to hate because they think that he's getting, like, showcased for no reason, but maybe they should watch these fights and they'd have a different opinion.
Man,
anyway.
People who don't understand that, like, what he's doing is really exceptional. Like, it's not, honestly, though, it's not exceptional. Like, for real, like the arm thing, who cares? He wrestled in high school. He's like, he's just an athlete. He's just an athlete. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's it. He's just an athlete who doesn't have a hand and has nothing but elbows in his left arm, and he hurts people bad with that shit. He's good at it, man. He's really, really good at it. And improvising or whatever, like I like watching the kid fight just because he's really good. And it's exciting. There's so much, you've seen these televised fights. All of his fights there's so much energy.
Yeah.
Everyone gets so amped for him, like people get really, really excited. I get excited watching his fights. I'm like, and then you see him do some shit that's not but then here's the thing, is that people get all amped up because of maybe this novelty thing affects it or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he's also very likable. He's very personal. He's very hardworking. He knows all of his shit. He obviously knows how to do everything that he needs to do, But it's just interesting. The whole thing is really, really interesting. Not quite as interesting as Fallon Fox. But I think it's interesting as fuck.
Yeah, the Fallon Fox thing is the same thing. If Fallon Fox is she going to get licensed anywhere but Florida? Like, that's the question. Before, like, I think too much conversation needs to be had about her. Is she going to be able to fight under other athletic commissions? Because I don't know that that's the case. Like, it seems like Florida's kind of open rules on some things.
Yeah. Well, Florida doesn't really have laws. Florida's like the new Texas. They might let her fight in, like, Alaska, Alabama, let her do one of those shows like where Tim Sylvia got knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
One of those big shows in the commissionless states.
Yeah.
Expecting him in the Thunderdome.
Yes. In the Thunderdome. Hey, guys, we're going to throw the commercial right now. We're going to see if we can get Houston Alexander on the line, get this interview going. So one more time, to commercial. We will be back.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
All right, we are back on Real Combat Media MMA Radio. Once again, you can call in and join the conversation at 347-324-5998. You can also hit us on Twitter at Real Combat Media and on Facebook as well if you choose. I would quickly like to throw out there that if you were to tune in tomorrow evening, you can listen to Real Combat Media Boxing Radio at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for episode 28, where guests will be Austin Trout and Ray Mercer. Speaking of Tim Sylvia, and this will be with your host, Christy Rosario, and Richard the Boxing Prophet Solomon. They will also announce each week on their show, what we're going to be doing. We're sharing a little promotion here. No, that's hilarious. You bring up the Tim Sylvia, and then Ray Mercer follows right behind.
I just know, man. I'm a consummate professional.
Yeah, maybe we should call in. Maybe we should call in to the Ray Mercer interview so we can squeeze some MMA discussion in there. That fight was... I felt bad for Tim Sylvia in that fight. I'm going to say I felt bad for him.
I don't know what Tim's deal is. I don't know if I've never met Tim Sylvia. I have not. Yeah, he's kind of doing. Yeah, he was doing his thing before I was really doing my thing. So it's like I don't know what his deal is personally. I know he's got a bunch of personal issues though, and like what I was saying, I was talking about with Nick, like. His record reflects a consistent camp, a consistent, stable, whatever his lifestyle is right now, it's consistent. He's doing the same shit over and over again, and that's why he's getting the same results over and over again. Tim Sylvia, not so much. See a lot of him trying to mix it up. He had whole steroid allegations towards the end, and of course Randy Couture put the nail in the coffin, and then he kind of got sent off into the ether. But Sylvia needs a real good support system. He stepped into a boxing match with a professional boxer, and he got knocked the fuck out. I mean, that's what happens, period. And they had the reason they kept changing the rules on that fight because that promotion, they had to have it in Alabama because they didn't have a commission in Alabama. That's why I had so many fights when I started out, because no one was keeping track of this shit. So you could just, anyone with a boxing ring or a cage could put on a show.
Right.
And that's why they had that Ray Mercer, Tim Sylvia thing down there. Now, the way that shit went down, I don't know if that is quite, okay, that's probably, really low. But I would say a close second has got to be the fact that he was the first fight of an undercard at ONE FC and got beat. Former UFC heavyweight champion, doesn't even make it to the main card of ONE FC of all promotions, and then he loses. And he lost to a good dude, right? This is an AKA guy, up and comer.
Yeah, right.
This poor Sylvia, man. I don't know. No one's heard much from him in a while. I don't know what he's doing these days.
I know he's a cop.
Is that what he's doing? Is he in Iowa or Maine?
Yeah, but I think he's I don't know how it works in Iowa, like a reserve or some where it's you have to go on patrol so many hours a month or something like that, and you are a cop, but you're not are you gonna say Steven Seagal?
I'm gonna say, is it like Steven Seagal Lawman?
Yeah, I think it is.
Right now,
I think it's very much like that.
I would watch that show, Tim Sylvia Lawman.
Yeah. Hey, I want to throw a couple of recently made matches in the UFC out to you guys and get your thoughts on it. First, it is official. Mark Hunt is fighting, as DJ refers to him, Big Face Silva, Antonio Bigfoot Silva. I think that's
big smile.
Yeah, big smile. Yeah, that's our.
Yeah, let's be nice.
Big smile.
He looks like that moon that tried to sell us McDonald's when we were little kids.
Matt tonight.
Which one?
Matt tonight. The half moon played a piano.
Yeah.
The piano?
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Something McKnight, maybe? I don't know.
You're talking about Gromus. Not talking about homie Gromus, are you?
No. I mean the big moon in the suit.
I don't know. I don't remember that one. It may have been.
Anyway, enough of McDonald's from the early 80s. Yeah, Bigfoot's fighting Mark Hunt. I think that's an appropriate matchup, and I mean that's one of those where it's Bigfoot grabs him, throws him on his back, or does Mark Hunt test his hands against Bigfoot's face? That's a pretty good.
Mark Hunt he's made a career of making me look like an idiot. Every time I'm like, this guy doesn't have a shot, and I was wrong. 4 times in a row until this last one.
Yeah, Mark Hunt's pissing off a lot of bettors.
Yeah. I mean, and his whole career, basically, That guy, remember, was it against Vanderlei Silva in Pride that he did like the atomic ass drop?
Oh, yeah.
And like from the moment he came into MMA, like he was winning these fights against guys that he should, like, obviously he's an amazing kickboxer, obviously, but somehow it just wasn't exploited that he had no ground game. Like he went out, like some guys, like Alistar Overeem, like got him pretty quick when they hit the ground. He almost key-locked Fedor. And, I mean, that's Marco almost key-locked Fedor. Like, this guy's career has been crazy. And after he came into the UFC and he stumbled against Sean McCorkle, Indiana guy, we have to represent there. Like, just went on the tear in the heavyweight division, and he's a monster. Like, those are two monsters fighting. Like, that's Godzilla shit, and I'm pretty happy that it's going to happen.
Yeah. That's what it is a big aspect of my favorite thing about the UFC is let's see what these monsters can do.
Yeah. Another fight.
It's King Kong versus Godzilla most of the time. So cool.
Yeah. The other fight, and I don't know if this is official yet, but Frank Mir against Alistar Overeem.
I like that fight. I like that fight a lot because they're the two most stubborn son of bitches in the top 10 heavyweight division. And it's going to be cool to see, like, they're like, man, fuck both you guys. Striker versus grappler, go. We're tired of the shit.
I love it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's great. So they're just like, fuck it, you guys are going to be hood ornaments. Fight. You guys now kiss. It's like Mir's gonna get knocked out and complain about the stoppage, and and then we have Alistair, who is a barrel of monkeys when it comes to drama. And we get with these two cats and put them in and see what, because both of them are like on their game, but like they're not. Both of them are neither one of them are as off their game as they have been, but neither one of them are as on their game as they should be.
Right.
I would agree.
And
that's exactly right.
And
so they're both in that weird space right now. It's an intriguing matchup. I think it's pretty good on Joe Silva's side.
What are the chances that Frank Mir, like this is the only problem I have in this fight. I don't see Frank Mir getting Alistar to the ground if he's the one initiating it. And I don't know if Frank Mir's durable enough to use the same game plan that the last two opponents used in Alistar, where you take a beating and then you hit him when he's tired and no longer defending himself. Because Frank Mir was probably wilt under what Travis Brown or Bigfoot took.
Frank Mir's got this weird love affair with having his back on the cage that I have not understood yet. I literally heard that his game plan for like when I was in Las Vegas and I bumped shoulders with his training partners from time to time. Someone told me that his game plan for Shane Carwin when he got beat up that bad was to let him bring him to the fence and then just stay up until he got tired and submit him, or something like that. It's some like really like confusingly simple game plan for such an elite dude. I was like, that's not going to work, and it didn't. It didn't go so well. Mir does not mind having people drive him into the cage, and then he doesn't mind. He prefers to stay up once he gets his back to the cage, and that basically makes him, as Alistair put it so eloquently towards Bigfoot, one big walking target. That's what that turns Frank Mir into, but for real, because Bigfoot is a big mean gorilla, and if you piss him off, he will throw you from the top of the Empire State Building. Yeah, he's definitely nasty. I want to squeeze in here. We actually, Houston just texted me. We are going to squeeze him in the last 10 minutes of the show here. But the other thing I want to talk about is, and we'll do this quickly, there's a lot of talk right now about Ben Askren and whether or not Bellator is going to try to keep him under contract. Bjorn Rebney was the one inside MMA Friday night, and he clarified that it's not that they're just going to let Ben Askren walk away. They're going to go let him get offers, and then they'll decide what they want to do. So it sounds like it's going to be the same thing as Eddie Alvarez, where it's like, oh, you can leave if you want to wait on the shelf, for this amount of time, or you can take whatever deal we give you. I can't see them not wanting to keep Ben Askren, honestly. He's finishing his fights, his last two fights. He is still improving.
He's killing everyone they put him up against, and he has a personality that can be marketed. I don't see Bellator really letting him get away.
Not if they know what's good for him. I think the Tim Sylvia talk we had earlier is appropriate, because one thing I used to always say about Tim Sylvia back in the day, because people, when Tim was champion, people complained about him. He was never a fan favorite.
Right.
But my thing is, like, people are like, man, he needs to not be the champion, someone else needs to be the champion. I'm like, show me someone who can beat him. Show me someone who's beat him. If you look at Tim Sylvia's record up until the point where he lost the belt and started getting beat, he was absolutely unstoppable, and he was winning these fights, and he was knocking people out in generally anticlimactic ways, but brutally.
Right.
Like his knockout of Trey Telligman, one of the worst ones ever.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear about that knockout. You don't hear about Tim Sylvia head kicking people at waist level, but that happens from time to time. And he had an incredible record. And what I say when it comes to other fighters like a Ben Askren, show me someone who can beat him. Who cares how shitty of a show it is to someone who is not a wrestler? Who cares about that? Like, it's a fight. It's about winning and losing. And if you can't beat Ben Askren, then shut the fuck up. Serious. If you can't beat Ben Askren, it's a contract. He's going to negotiate whoever gets him the best money, combined with the best, sponsor options or pay-per-view or whatever it is that he likes for his contract. When he gets what he wants, and he'll sign the paper. And if it's it depends on where it's at too. Like, I don't know. Ben's probably smart. I doubt he wants to jump right into the UFC and start, do anything. I doubt the UFC wants him. I don't think the UFC wants him because they already got a bunch of good wrestlers that are more that have
David
rating. Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry to cut you short here, but we do have Houston on here.
Oh, it's my bad.
Hello, Houston, are you on the line? Hello? Hello, Houston? No, he's not with us. Sorry, I cut you short for no reason.
I wonder how many times, with all the interviews that Houston Alexander does, that's happened, and they've said, Houston, we have a problem.
Do you know how many times I just bit my tongue? Because I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say it.
I don't care. I'll do it. I'll make the apology.
Yeah, that's all right. On the Ben Askren thing, though, I will say that, like, there are a lot of fights I'd love to see of Ben Askren in the UFC, though. Like, I don't. By no means.
Wrong. I would love to see him in the UFC. I just don't think they want him.
Yeah, well, they're definitely not going to pay him a lot.
They don't want him right now. They'll take him after they buy Bellator and strip it.
Man, I've thought about that a lot, and that's what they generally do. But with Viacom behind it, I don't know if that happens with Bellator. I don't know if I think when Bellator goes out, it might just go down like a Viking ship. We say when, like if it does. If things don't work out, but maybe they offer the contracts to the UFC. I couldn't really say. That's a tough one.
Bellator has some. Well, look, Bellator has a price tag too. There is a certain amount of zeros that the Fertittas can put on a check that will get them Bellator if they want it. They just got to wait until the stock goes way up, and then they let the stock go down. They buy low, sell high, just like they do with Pride, everything.
All right, we're gonna try this one more time here. Hello, hey, Houston, are you with us? Hey, Houston, how you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine. Sorry about the delay, but that's what happens when you got to pick up kids.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. You got a busy week going on anyway. Thanks for being on the show. My name's Isaac. Also, professional fighter David Hewlett is on here, and comedian DJ Dangler.
Okay.
What's up, Houston?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
We're doing well. Hello.
You're doing good.
All right. Any one of you guys want to buy some kids?
You got enough, don't you? How many kids do you have?
Yeah, I got a few for sale. so just in case you guys want to buy some kids, I got plenty of them for you.
I'm good. I got one and another on the way. That's going to be enough for me here.
Okay. Well, get them snipped, brother. Get them snipped.
I'm thinking about it. Believe me. We've only got about 7 minutes here, unfortunately, to talk to you, Houston. So I'm gonna try to cram in these questions I have for you.
Hey, let's pack it all in for you, brother. That was my fault.
No problem. My first question for you is, your last few fights, it's pretty much almost been a different organization every fight. this fight with Bellator, do you have a contract with Bellator now, or is this another one-off fight?
Well, I'm not for sure, what the manager got set up for it, but I'm assuming it's a multi-fight deal, but I'll let him handle all that. I don't know all the details about it, but I'm sure it's multi.
Cool. Are you down then for doing the tournaments?
Am I down? You know what? I'm down for fighting. Period, man. You can put me in a garage and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I think we've seen that from your fights. It is like a killer be killed every time Houston Alexander goes out. Now, but you're fighting a veteran here. You're fighting Vladimir Matyushenko, a guy who's been around forever and a dangerous guy. And just quickly, give us your thoughts on facing someone like the janitor.
Well, you got a guy who's not going to lose his poise. You got a guy who's not going to get rattled looking at the guy across the ring, and you got a guy who has all this experience and the striking. And even though he's known as a wrestler, his striking, he's knocked a lot of people out, man. So you got to, it's crazy, but he's one of the best in the world. He's not a joke.
Yeah, for sure. Is game plan the same as usual, or are you going to go out and try to flatline him in the first round?
You know what, Mike, he's going to have to adjust to what I'm doing. So I'm not worried about what the other fighters doing. I can care less. He's going to have to adjust to my being aggressive. He's going to have to adjust to my leg kicks, my grappling, my jiu-jitsu. So I'm not worried about what he's going to do.
Yeah, fantastic. David, you want to get a question into Houston while we have him on here?
Yeah, I had a couple of things. What is your typical day in the life of Houston Alexander? You sound like a busy guy.
Hey man, when I wake up 5:30, close to 5:30 every morning. I teach a fitness class in the morning where it's like my warm up for the day. To where I'm teaching this class, but it's a class to where I teach people how to work out. So I got 70-year-old ladies in the class that probably can punch better than some of the MMA guys that are out there. So I start my day off like that, and then I actually go train in my gym. Then I typically do. I got my job with radio, so I do radio, and then I have another session that I do with my gym. Then I'm doing a lot of community service here with a lot of the programs in the community. Man, I'm still DJing. I'm on the air. I just do a little bit of everything, man, because I can't just stay still.
What type of radio stuff do you do?
What kind of regular stuff did I do?
The radio thing you do.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a show on Sundays where I play independent music from all over the world. So, if you know an independent hip hop artist or R&B, I'm the guy to play it first. You know what I'm saying? So, I've broken a lot of artists over the past 10, 11 years.
Man, why didn't the UFC push the whole Houston Alexander package harder? Do you think they could have really marketed the shit out of it?
Being brand new, I guess being brand new, they I don't know about the push part. I think they were just waiting for me to win more, and I think being pushed out there as the first few fights and they were so easy. I think what happened was the transitional part of the game is something that I was still learning. Even though I was pretty good at wrestling and boxing and jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, it was just piecing it all together, especially with these caliber athletes. So I think right now my transition game is 10 times better. So I know what they know, and so since I know what they know, a lot of them guys are in trouble.
It's like,
all right, we're getting right here towards the end. DJ, do you want to ask Houston something real quick?
You know what? No, I just want to tell him he's great. Wish him luck in the big fight, and I've been a fan forever.
Well, you know what? Hey, hopefully I can get back on you guys' show pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll reschedule. That's cool. After you come back from the fight, do you have a prediction for us for the fight?
Well, the prediction is there. What did Mr. T say? The prediction is pain.
Yeah, that's right.
The prediction is pain all the way around the board, man. And I'm in great shape, so I hope he's in great shape because it's the guy that's going to be in shape that wins the fight.
Fantastic. Well, Houston, thanks for making the time that you could for us, and we'll get back here the next few weeks after the fight and talk to you.
Well, let's do it, man. Like I said, I owe you guys, so anytime you guys want me back on, please have me on. And I would like to shout out all my family, friends, and fans out there, and all my sponsors that's been helping me out since day one. So I appreciate you guys having me on for this little time.
All right. Thank you very much, Houston.
All right. Thank you very much.
Talk to you.
Bellator this Friday. Say 8 Central.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, man.
Spike TV. They're going Deion Sanders, prime time.
All right. Good night, Houston.
All right, y'all.
All right. Real quick, find us on Twitter, Real Combat Media. Good night.